Hello, you're on the radio.
Hey, Brad. Good afternoon.
Hey, what's happening?
Brad, I did a job sponsorship, and it took me 10 years already. I'm waiting for the 245I. My lawyer is advising me to file. I don't know. He said I've been here 10 years. I'm paying my taxes, so he told me if I want to file, got to sign a paper. He's going to put me on deportation.
Right. Well, basically, basically what he's telling you is to file something that he knows is going to get denied. So that puts you in deportation. And then when you're in deportation, you can do one of two things. You can apply for cancellation of removal, which says that if you've been here for more than 10 years and you're a person of good moral character and you can show extreme and unusual hardship to your spouse and children if you were deported or removed from the United States, they call it now, then you could have your removal, your deportation canceled, which is why they call it cancellation of removal, and you can get a green card. You could also apply for what President Obama is doing right now, which is prosecutorial discretion, which basically if you can show humanitarian reasons why they shouldn't enforce your deportation even if you lose your cancellation of removal. President Obama has said in certain circumstances he will low priority people, he will not deport, he will not enforce that deportation, and in return give them a work permit. There is risks to doing this. Number one, you could lose your cancellation of removal case. And if you lose your cancellation of removal case, you will have an order of deportation. And two, even if you say, well, the backup is I'm going to get the prosecutorial discretion from President Obama, there's no certainty that he's going to be the president. You know, the elections are coming up in 12 months. Who knows what the next president's going to do? So there's a risk involved. I mean, certainly we are applying for prosecutorial discretion for some of my clients. But everyone has to understand the risk involved in all of this, which is, it may backfire, it may not, it depends. And and the reality is what you have to say is to yourself, if I can't even take a 1% chance of actually getting deported, I'm not going to do this. If, on the other hand, I've been here for 10 years. I got to try to do something. I feel like, I'm in jail here, even though I haven't committed a crime, and, I can't do what I should be able to do, and I can't lead the life that I want to lead. And you're willing to take those chances, then by all means take those chances. How big of a chance are you taking? I wouldn't be able to tell you unless I actually met with you and reviewed your entire case.
All right. So I did call already to
make an appointment.
Schedule an appointment.
Sure. Okay. So come on down.
So
come on down. It's 1-800. Let me give you the telephone number right now. 1-800.
I got the number.
Okay. Great. All right. Thank you very much. We're going to go to this line right here. Hello. You're on the radio.
Hey. Good morning.
Hey. What's up?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a family member. She's been here over 5 years now. She came up on visa. Mm-hmm. She overstayed her time. She wanted to know if she can travel within the country on her passport or if it's a risk.
Well, it's always a risk whenever you have to show your passport or show any identification. Depends where she's traveling and how she's traveling.
Coming from Florida.
Believe it or not, the safest way to travel up and back to Florida is by plane. And then I would also suggest using LaGuardia if you can, because LaGuardia doesn't have immigration there because it's a domestic airport. You try to reduce your risk as much as possible. There's plenty of people who are out of status who use their passports to travel. Very rarely do I hear on a plane that they have a problem. You'll hear it more often on a bus. You'll hear it more often on a train. On a plane, you don't hear it as often, but it does happen every so often. So you have to travel at your own risk. The safest thing to do is don't travel. So I can't tell you 100% it's safe, but out of all the three modes, bus, train, plane, I would take a plane.
Okay.
All right?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. 1-800-522-0804. That is the number to call to schedule an immigration consultation, which is absolutely free between now and the end of November. Hello, you're on the radio.
Hello, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
Question.
Yes.
Somebody's married, okay, and they have the 2 years card. But what happened is that their husband have a house, okay? okay?
Right.
And when they did the original paperwork, it was the woman's apartment in Queens. What she wants to know is she has to send in and remove the condition, and his tax return does reflect the house address, the house, not the tax return, the things from his job.
Yes, right.
He was going through
Right,
something.
right, that's
Right,
it.
so she wants to know, will that be a problem? Is she ready to remove it? They're still together and everything, but the tax return, his tax return shows his house address and the W-2, but everything else they have is at the apartment in Queens.
Well, it's a problem because you got to have your taxes done together. So I would suggest they come in with their taxes. I have a tax attorney, Sean Chi, who works for me, and we can help you try to resolve those tax issues. But we're going to have to resolve those tax issues before you file it. I think it's going to end up being a problem.
When they have everything else?
I understand that, but I'm just telling you, immigration. When you're dealing with immigration, you have a square. They want the square put into the square. Okay, so when you have a tax return that shows different addresses, they look at it as circle going into square. That doesn't sound right to me. We're going to call you in for an interview and really start quizzing you. And you don't want to get involved with that. So I would suggest that we try to fix it ahead of time.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. 1-800-522-0804.